Pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning all and Happy New Year. Move.
I'll second.
Moved by McCurry, seconded by Meats. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Next is to approve the minutes of Tuesday, December 28th as written.
So moved. I second that.
Moved by Hughes and seconded by Thompson. Any discussion?
I'll abstain on that.
That is correct. Keep those going. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. 4-1. Next, move to approve the minutes of December 29th, 2023 as written.
I'll move.
I'll second that.
Moved by Meats, seconded by Thompson. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. That is all of our miscellaneous. I don't have anything.
Nope.
Now we're to wait on our 9:05 public hearing for CDBG. 4 minutes.
Did we have any applicants for the Tourism and Visitors Board?
None yet.
Okay. We have people seated there presently, do we not?
Yes, Bobby, which I would imagine you would want to retain him there. But I think you guys need to visit with him because he said something about them dissolving. So, I'm not exactly sure what's going on there. We'll down the back road. First. Oh, yeah, you know.
Awesome.
Nice to meet you. Matt.
Well, welcome to this crazy crew. Yeah.
Not the tourism.
Oh, Shane. Yeah.
Is it dissolved? The change?
I don't know the full story yet.
I heard there was talk about it, but because of the funding, I knew there was gonna be something coming down the pipeline.
But not tourism, has nothing to do with tourism.
Right.
So, Bobby would still be one you'd probably want to keep on there, and then, Melissa?
Well, I like the way you talk.
Yeah.
I'll take care of
Is that it?
it. Yes.
She's leaving, she'll be moving to Texas after sometime this year.
She's with the chamber.
Yeah, she's the head, or she was the president of the chamber, isn't that right?
So do we wanna go ahead and reappoint Bobby Skipper? Or do we wanna wait and visit with him?
Yeah, let's visit, I think. I thought there was another one or two actually on the Tourism and Visitors Board. I thought
And they're not up yet.
Carol Toy. Oh, it's not up for renewal yet. I see.
Just Melissa and Bobby.
Okay, all right.
Oh, they're on the tourism board?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Totally.
There you
We're
go.
all in the same shape. We didn't
Yeah.
ask her when it was.
Right.
I'm starting to learn. It takes a while.
Well, if you don't see him every day, it's hard.
Oh, I know. Everybody looks bright-eyed from the New Year's.
Sure.
Whatever you say.
Wouldn't have wanted to have this meeting yesterday.
I was tired yesterday morning, that's for sure.
I got way too much sleep.
It was after 3 a.m. before I went to bed. It was not good.
Well, maybe it was then, but.
It was not good. All right, it's 9:05. Public hearing for CDBG commercial rehab. Garrett? Morning.
Good morning. So this is, we kind of started on this a few months ago, and now we're to the public hearing process, part of the CDBG application. So Danny Burke and Matt, they have a building down on the corner by the stoplight that they want to rehab using CDBG money. They're going to apply for a $250,000 grant, and they're putting up about $95,000 of their own, no, $105,000 of their own money. This money is available every year, and in order for the business owner to get the money to put into the building, it has to be done through a city or a county. Because Danny was running for public office, we decided that maybe doing it through the city would be a conflict of interest, so she asked you all to support her, and you guys said that you would back when we got started on this. So today is the required public hearing. Every CDBG program requires a citizen participation plan, and that just gives folks from the general public any opportunity that they want to make a comment. So I haven't done a public hearing with you all before. There's several different ways we can do it. I've prepared a little public hearing notice that was in the paper as required, and then there are a bunch of documents that go along with it. I've listed all of those. Some governing bodies approve them all at once. Some make separate motions for each one of them. Some people like me to read the public hearing notice aloud. I can do that. I can do as little or as much as you want. I'm here to help as much as you guys need. So.
Should they go ahead and enter into a public hearing now?
Yes, please.
Tapping a motion, are you?
Yeah. And it would be to hear public comments.
Yeah, it'd be to collect public comment on the potential CDBG commercial rehab application.
And this was advertised in the paper.
It was, yes.
To collect public comments on the CDBG publication?
Public hearing.
Public hearing. Okay.
Motion to enter into public hearing at 9:07 to collect public comments on CDBG public hearing.
So moved.
Second. Moved by Hugo, seconded by McCurry. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion passes. All right. Any public comments? Silence. No public comments?
Do you usually read that?
Some people have me do it and some people don't, so I'm happy to do it real quick if you'd like.
Do we do that during the, during this? Okay.
Yeah.
I would say the more information, the better.
Well, that's, maybe just.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Happy to do it. Okay, public hearing notice. Coffee County, Kansas will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, January 2, 2024 at 9:05 a.m. in the Coffee County Board of Commissioners Chambers located at 110 South 6th Street, Burlington, Kansas, for the purpose of considering an application to be submitted to the Kansas Department of Commerce for Small Cities Community Development Block Grant Funds under the Downtown Commercial Rehabilitation category. A specific project application to be discussed is the rehabilitation of a commercial building owned by River City Restorations, LLC, located at 326 Neosho Street, Burlington, Kansas. The proposed project will consist of demolition, structural improvements, roofing, exterior facade improvements, window replacement, architectural design, construction inspection, and grant administration. The estimated project cost is $354,395, with the grant request for $250,000 of the project cost. Other project proposals introduced at the hearing will be considered. Oral and written comments will be recorded and become a part of Coffee County's CDBG Citizen Participation Plan. Reasonable accommodations will be made available to persons with disabilities. Those requests should be submitted to the Coffee County Clerk by December 29 at 5 p.m. via Angie's email address. That's it.
Thank you.
Sure.
So basically, Coffee County is the holder of the CDBG funding, and they have to report, River City, would have, not River City, they would have to report their expenditures to the county
That's exactly right.
to push the funds through.
Yep, that's
Make sure they're qualified expenses.
That's right. So the $250,000 in grant funds, that will go entirely towards construction, and then the matching funds that they're providing will be used to pay for the architects and engineers, and for us to do grant administration. And our goal when we do grant administration with our clients is to take as much off of Angie's plate as possible. We'll do everything we can possibly do. Once we get into the thick of the project, when it's actually under construction, the invoices will come into the architect. The architect looks at the building, makes sure that everything lines up properly. They approve the pay request of the contractor, and then we put together a little report that goes to CDBG that says we're requesting this amount of grant money for this month, and we prove that they have put in the matching funds that they need to put in for their part of it. It's all in a ratio, and then that will need to be signed by 2 members of the county staff. It'll be a form that we'll put together. This will kind of be going on at the same time as the economic development project too, the other CDBG project. So the forms will be similar. Our goal is for you all to just have to, of course with Wade's input, to just sign the pay request every month and keep forwarding things on down the road, and we take care of absolutely everything that we possibly can. If things go great, the next time you'll see me regarding this project will be the required closeout hearing when the project's over with. After construction's done and the final pay request has been approved, we do another public hearing where again the public's allowed to comment and say whatever they'd like to say about it, and then we move on and close it out.
Is there a time frame for completion for the grant?
Sure. So the building owner is in a much bigger hurry than what they require.
Okay.
We're required to be under contract with the contractor within a year, so all the work has to be bid out because it's being paid with grant funds.
Right.
So under contract within a year after the grant is awarded. I expect that to be at least 60 days, and then it has to be completed within 2 years after the grant is awarded.
Oh, okay.
I think
So it's
think
not
we're
real strict, but.
yeah, it's not really
You want
strict.
to move faster, I assume.
Yeah,
Yeah.
delivering babies.
Like yesterday.
Alright.
Yeah. And they switched things up this year. You used to be able to apply today, January 2nd, used to be the opening of the application window, but they decided to make it January 29th this year. So we're just trying to get everything done that we possibly can before January 29th, and then we'll submit it electronically on that date.
The $354,000 that you're shooting for, that is enough funds to fully complete the project that's at hand?
Yes. That's the architect's estimate, is to complete that portion of the work, everything that's listed, those items that I just read aloud. That's their estimate. It's got a pretty good contingency factor in it, from what I can tell. Carter is here from BG Consultants. They're the architect of record on the project, and he's not the architect on the project, but he's here to answer any questions if you guys might have some about the preliminary design of the work. They've done a preliminary architecture report and worked with Danny to identify the things that she wants to get fixed and get taken care of as part of this project.
You know, that building's about like a lot of the buildings on Main Street,
Mm-hmm.
not only Burlington, but later on in the cities. There was 10 foot of water in that in 1951.
Sure.
And I'm sure that's all been reviewed and looked at.
Mhm.
But if they run into a major issue, what happens then?
So anything outside, they'll never give, I shouldn't say never, very rarely will they come back and give somebody more grant money. So if there's something that is discovered during the project, the building owner is on the hook for it. So the $250,000, that's a maximum. They won't give any more than that.
So next year, you said this was a yearly deal, or an annual deal, so
Sure.
can they apply again next year?
They,
For the same location?
not for the same
Oh.
building,
Okay.
but the county or the city could apply for another building in your downtown district if they wanted to.
So
We
it's
have-
basically a one-time grant for the address?
That's exactly right, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So the grant is issued, where does that money, where does that money go? Is that in the county coffers?
Yeah, it will be.
Okay,
It will be temporarily. So, so again, it's only for construction. So once construction starts, the contractor gets going, they'll turn in a monthly pay
I
request.
see, and that's where he's paid from, is that from that amount?
Right. So we'll request the grant money. The grant money will be wired into the county's account, and then a check is supposed to be written to the contractor within 3 days.
Okay,
So there will be a separate account kept or a separate Excel sheet kept, and we'll help you with that.
You got that set up for that all work through Angie?
Well, we'll get it figured out. He
Yeah.
was just saying.
that's just being set up
You have to be
now, right?
determined, you have to
That
be
would be
determined.
done. So it's not approved yet.
That's right. This is just an application.
Okay,
We expect it to be approved. With pretty good success rate on them because it's kind of a first come, first serve, and they love putting these in communities where no one's had one before. And to my knowledge, there hasn't been one here. They checked the records, and there hasn't been one here at least since before 2000, at least anyway.
Does the county supply any funds, any part of these funds at all?
No, not one bit.
we're just administering the money that's sent into it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. The building owner's paying for all of the balance of the construction that's not covered by the 250, as well as any architecture, engineering, inspection, grant administration, whatever needs to come out of there is all up to the building owner.
Any other questions?
I think I have any.
Any questions from the public? Move to, motion to close the public hearing at 9 a.m., at 9:17 a.m.
I'd so move.
I'll second. Moved by Thompson, seconded by McCurry. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay,
All right, so
next.
there's a series of CDBG application documents. I know these are going to be the exact same ones you did when Garrett was here for the economic development project. There's a resolution authorizing your authority to apply. It's basically stating, yes, we are a county in Kansas. Yes, we are eligible to do this. Statement of assurances and certifications is exactly the same as before. The county attestation statement, a residential anti-displacement and relocation assistance plan. This is all federal money, so we're basically acknowledging that we're not going to displace any residents as part of this project. HUD applicant disclosure report, that lists everybody that could possibly get any portion of the project money, so the architect and ourselves were listed on there, and then that's a initial report. We keep it updated throughout, so if there's any contractors or subcontractors, we list those on there. Environmental determination of level of review, this is just stating that it's a building project, we've looked at it, we know what needs to be done as far as environmental review. Again, it'll be judged by the Department of Commerce. They'll tell us whether we did it right or not, or whether it's going to require a full environmental review. Buildings usually do not. So this one's a little different. So it's a grant administration contract, and our grant administration contract is with the county. But as part of the packet of everything that I sent to Angie, I included the grant agreements, the grant agreement, the grant repayment agreement, and the matching funds agreement that will all be executed when the grant is awarded, that takes the financial liability off of the county and places it on the building owner. And that would be, I want Wade to review all those things for you and make sure that everybody's comfortable with it. They have us make our contract with the county because the county is the grantee, but please understand that Danny is paying the bill. There will not be a bill to the county. She'll be taking care of that one. And it's also contingent on grant award. So if the grant's not awarded for some reason, then the contract is null and void. And then the last one, we did talk about this, I know it was months ago. This is a resolution declaring a building blighted with respect to the CDBG program. So there's two ways that they'll give you money for a CDBG commercial rehab project. Number one is if the building is considered to be blighted, or number two, if you're creating a bunch of jobs, like we are with the economic development project. So the blight resolution Again, not an attorney, just a grant administrator, but the blight resolution is, it's not saying that the building's blighted. Like if she doesn't get the grant and this doesn't stand on its own for anything other than declaring it blighted with respect to this program. So if there was any other program where you needed a blight declaration, this wouldn't work. It's only for the CDBG project. Again, if the grant's not awarded, it's still considered blighted if somebody else ever wanted to pursue a CDBG grant, but that's the only thing that the blight declaration is used for, is for this program. So there are 8 different documents, two resolutions that need resolution numbers. Everything else just needs to be approved and signed by Chairman Knight. Any questions about any of those documents?
I don't have it. I mean, it's helping the city, it's helping the county, it's helping downtown.
See no downside to it.
Yeah.
See.
Yeah, this money it's gone every year. It's a really popular program. The county on its own, the city on its own do not qualify for CDBG grants to help with streets, sewer, water, any of those other things. So for Coffee County or the city of Burlington, either one, to get CDBG money, this one and the Economic Development Program are about the only 2 ways to go about doing that. So somebody else is going to take it if you all don't. That's what I always tell people.
I'm trying to get things, so the first thing we have is the resolution.
That's right, resolution certifying legal authority to apply. And again, I list these out because I go to a lot of really small towns, and they need help with resolution or language for motions and things like that. Some people just say, we need a motion to sign all of the documents required for the application, and they call it good. I'm not trying to tell you all how to do it, I'm just offering the language here if you want.
What's the county of Fulton?
That was what I copied off the form.
Okay.
I think I
You
should
put it in
copy.
there, I'm liable to read it.
I know. I know. But it was on.
Then I can go like that.
Still go like
Yeah,
that.
you go.
I use the same agenda format for every project, and I had one of these in Holton, so that's probably what happened.
Yeah, it says contract for administration services for the county of Fulton, Kansas, CBD commercial rehab project.
That'd be the county of Coffee County?
Yes.
I'm gonna fix it.
Sorry about that.
Okay, and so we got the resolution, and then what would be the next document to sign?
Statement of assurances and certifications.
And that's the chairman's the only one that signs that too?
Yes, it is signed by the chairman. It's actually in 2 different places. It's kind of a weird one. And then attested by you.
Okay, what's after the statement? I have contract for administration services, is that the one?
The way I have them listed is that this one would be the county attestation statement.
Okay. And then what?
Residential anti-displacement and relocation assistance plan. Need to figure out a way to abbreviate that one.
Residential.
It'd be easier to say all documents related to the CDBG grant.
You wanna do that?
Wade, would that be a lot simpler than writing up 15 different motions? Moved authorize direct chairman to sign all documents related to the CDBG grant.
All of them that are listed starting with number 1. There's 8 of them total.
I think.
Resolution probably be B1.
Yeah, I think you got several
How many resolutions?
Two.
Two resolutions, so I'd at least list the resolutions, because that way there's a
Okay.
mechanism to go back in time if you need to.
Sorry, Andy.
Okay.
Should have thought that too.
That's all. Okay, so move to authorize the director chairman to sign all documents related to the CDBG document.
That's right.
Okay. And then, so the first resolution number will be 2024-928. And then the next resolution will be 2024-929. I'm trying to find that resolution. Second one. That's the first. Oh, there it is.
Okay. We'll do two resolutions first and then switch down to
Okay, I'll move that.
move to approve resolution number 2024-928, a resolution certifying legal authority to apply for 2024 Kansas Small City Community Development Block Grant Program from the Kansas Department of Commerce and authorize the commissioner to sign and submit such an application.
I'll move.
Second. Moved by McCurry, seconded by Knight. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Next, move to approve resolution number 2024-929A, resolution declaring the building blighted with respect to the Kansas Small City Community Development Block Grant, also known as CDBG program.
So moved.
Second that.
Moved by Hughton and seconded by Thompson. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Last but not least, move to authorize director chairman to sign all documents related to the CDBG grant documents.
Also move.
Moved by Meeks,
I'll second.
seconded by McCurry. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye, motion passes.
Very good. So those will be submitted on or about January 29th. I'll keep you all posted on whatever we hear. There may be some direct communication between CDBG and Angie. We'll use Angie's email address as the official contact unless you want to use Bobby or someone else. And then I'll report back to you guys once we hear something.
Very well.
Great. Thank you all very much. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Good luck.
Have a good one. Thank you.
Good luck.
Happy New Year.
Should I go ahead and have him sign these documents or wait until?
They say
No,
you
you
the
can-
whole
You can sign
elephant
them
one
at
bite
your
at a
leisure.
time.
It doesn't have to be
You'll be
done
fine.
today, just as long
You'll
as I
be
have it by
fine.
January 29th. Just
Okay.
scan an email to me and keep the originals in a file folder.
Okay.
Right.
Well, good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's my fault he called you Garrett.
Yeah.
Oh, that's all right. That happens all the time. You too.
He's going, that's Garrett, right? I'm like, yeah.
Close enough. We have a lot of the same letters in our name.
There you go.
Take care, everyone.
Thanks a lot. That's all right. All right. That concludes our agenda, ladies and gentlemen.
You came there on a happy note, didn't you? That was a good game.
It's been a long time coming.
Got anything for us today, sir?
Just a couple quick things.
Come on up.
I did notice Wade smug. That was a good game.
That was
a good
awesome.
game. Got something to look forward to next Monday night then, huh? You gonna get on a plane and go to Houston?
You got a
Look at-
ticket is a question.
Well, looked at ticket prices and $1,800, so.
Oh, is that right?
I'm out.
He's gonna get a better view from home.
Yeah. Those were actually
Pretty good.
two good games. Two good games.
I didn't realize he was gonna play it in Houston.
Yeah.
Normally it's at the AT&T Stadium. Arlington.
Yeah, they started moving around a few,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah, so I think all the bowls get a share of the semifinals and all
I
that.
went to one bowl game, it was pretty intense.
Yeah,
Pretty
fun as heck,
Yeah.
blast.
My items, just a couple things, and, well, first, Happy New Year, it's good to see you guys again.
You.
I had mentioned this maybe a month or two ago, but the federal government has made a call for raise grant applications again. We had submitted on the countywide trails study last year. And if you remember, we actually fared quite well in the process. We were just short of the round of getting selected. And we were encouraged by USDOT to resubmit the application. I guess I'm asking for approval if we can go ahead and do that on your behalf. This would be trails that are in all 6 of the cities and the connecting trail between Burlington and New Strawn. If you remember that program, the way the government has set it up, there's a lot more money in rural projects. 50% of the money now in this category can go to rural projects, and I think that's a huge benefit for, communities like Coffee County. So we'd like to put that in for you guys again, and it shouldn't take, it's more of an updating at this point, because we did have I had a video meeting with U.S. Department of Transportation where they gave us comment on our application and what we can improve and how we can maybe make it move to a list that it gets scored and gets selected. Again, these are never guarantees. You're competing against everyone else in the country, but they were pleasantly surprised how well it scored even in the first submittal. If you remember, they have 8 categories to get to the Secretary of Transportation for possible selection. You need to have a high rating. They basically do a low, medium, high in 8 categories. You need to have a high in 6 of 8, and we had a high in 5 of 8. And so we were pleasantly surprised. So if that is
continue do they just continue to take applications?
they have a window.
I figured they had a window sometime.
And it's annual. So the call came out right before Christmas. It will close, the applications will be due by the end of February. But I kind of wanted to get this in front of you because it takes a little bit of work to get them looking pretty, and everything's got to be right to go in. And then to make sure, like we did before, we got letters of support from you all, from the cities. We got them from both of your state senators, your local representatives. So letters of support are very important. I think we got one from the city of Burlington, and so anyway, we'll gather up letters again and do all that to bolster the applications.
So I was wondering if you had to regather the supporting documents.
Yeah, we do.
What do you estimate the cost to be towards that to resubmit?
Oh, I think we're looking at, I think usually the first go round, we probably were around $25,000 of effort. I think this is going to be under 10. It'd be mostly us finding those categories where we were medium. We didn't have any low categories, so the medium categories, kind of rewriting those to make sure we at least give ourselves a better chance of scoring based on their comments, and then getting the letters of support. That took a little more effort because people meet at different schedules, and then particularly running down the local congressional folks, getting letters from them. They were very great, but it does take a little bit of time to kind of stay on their radar. But they're very supportive of Senator Marshall and Senator Moran were very quick to get letters, and so was your congressman. So we would do that effort.
Is this a all or none situation? I mean, for myself, I'm very supportive of trails within the cities, not so much for the big project. That's my personal opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Is it all or none, or what's the?
I think what we learned before we submitted last year was they with rural, they really do like kind of I'll call it the regional county-wide approach rather than just a city here and a city there. For one thing, it makes it I'm gonna put it this way, it's more dollars that can be put to more project. And I think that's what the federal government is kind of looking for. If you go below $5 million, it gets a lot harder to get funded in this category. So it made sense to regionally submit. It just
Okay.
bolsters the
I was just curious.
Yeah, no, it's a good question. Yeah. Kind of connected to that, this is one, I had some discussions with the city of Waverly. They still are very interested in doing something about their stormwater issues. And I've had multiple meetings with U.S. Department of Transportation on funding categories that could help them. And believe it or not, there are, this RAISE grant program and a couple other categories could be grant programs where they could do an application because, and believe it or not, you can use transportation dollars if it's fixing a stormwater issue that causes road problems. And that's what they're dealing with in Waverly. They have multiple roads where a couple of creeks there overtop the road in a 10-year flood, a 10-year event, 15-year event, 25-year event, and then they've got water over the road. So I've been kind of working, I had a couple of discussions with them. The mayor would like to meet with me this week to talk about maybe helping them with an application. So more than anything, I wanted to give you a heads up because, again, the study we did, the plan we did for the countywide that you all funded, they're still very interested in moving one of those priorities forward.
Yeah, he was in, what, 2 or 3 months ago?
2 or 3 months ago.
Something like that.
Right.
Which is great. I'm glad to see that they didn't want this to get shelved.
No,
And I am too. But I'm with Mr. Thompson a little bit. Not that I wouldn't support connecting the cities, but I think you gotta start within a city before you connect a city. To go straight out and try to connect 2 cities with it ending up nowhere, but at the city limits, is ludicrous to me. So, I guess an example for me is the Burlington Trail that's being proposed in the book that you gave us.
Yeah.
It's going out to a lake that's not even there yet. So why can't we, I mean, I guess I'd want to see a little more down to earth, so to speak. I mean, I'm for all these other projects, this extra stuff, but I see it as being down the road yet.
So let me maybe help clarify a little bit. The grant we went after here was for design money, not for construction money. So the purpose there was no money to move this out of planning to something else. So it made sense to include those future trails because, again, the ask is get it designed and then start looking at how you fund pieces of it. So whether it's in the future or not, that can be your priority. It doesn't have to, but we hated to take it out of the request because it honestly makes the request more robust. It makes the plan complete. But these are not construction dollars. This was for, they actually created a category in the federal program because many rural communities did not have money to design projects and to get them ready for construction. So you could still have a phased program, and that trail, for example, out at the lake, it may be 20 years, 25 years down the road, but at least you would have it preliminarily planned. Am I making sense?
Yeah, but so, I mean, if you're going for a grant for design money,
Yes.
so,
But it would, in that case, for the areas that are lower priority like that, you could take those to like a 35% plan. You don't need to take that to construction plan. You could take the areas in the cities that are more of a priority, take the dollars, put those toward constructible projects, and then start phasing dollars into construction.
Inside those
Yes,
cities,
yes.
is that correct?
Yes, but
So that plan wouldn't even have to be, to Tom's point, that wouldn't, all you're doing is design.
yeah, you're just, in fact, all of it is designed, but what I'm saying is, let's say you want the city pieces faster, okay,
Right.
more. The application can take dollars and design those to 100% plans to get them ready for a a funded project and take other parts that are lower priority, more future, and design those to, say, 30% plans so that you've got at least something that's in reserve in the future, you know where you might go. That was the purpose of that. Again, it was a full regional countywide plan that way, which is what was appealing to the federal agents.
Okay, I believe I understand that, but, so, we apply for this grant for, funding and design, and so that gets approved, and now let's say, let's visit with the city. Do we visit with the city of Burlington this time and say, I'm looking at this drawing here that was handed, and say, okay, point A is here, point B is here, but it's going clear out around here, can we reroute? Is that still within, or does it gotta be within this? You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, I know what you're saying.
Can you change the plan somewhat, and say that this is in the future, because we don't have a lake here yet?
Well, typically you can't, because they're asking for enough specifics to fund what you have in your application. And what we've got in there is what the city's agreed to. So when we did the planning study, that's what we had them mark this up.
Okay, but they understand there's no changes to that.
Yeah, so maybe in our in putting this back together, I need to circle back with the cities, make sure they're happy with the maps.
And you're still talking design.
Yeah, we're still, the whole thing, this is no construction dollars. But it's a huge benefit to rural communities, because that was one of the complaints when this program was called BUILD in the previous administration. One, there was very much less dollars for rural, there was much less dollars for design, and many rural communities complained to the federal government that we don't even have the money to put an application in. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, you want us to submit applications. So now, even in this program, it can be 100% funded by the federal government. Your advantage is you've spent money on a planning study, you've spent money in your communities, you have budget for transportation that you annually put out. So we kind of emphasize that in the application, that the county is putting money and has spent money already to advance this. And that played well for you all.
Time frame from grant application to getting the money for design, from design to build?
Great question. I'll answer it, and it'll be like everything else the federal government does. Applications are due by the end.
We're talking years.
Yeah, we're talking, so applications due at the end of February. Announcement awards typically will be June, July. Okay. It takes about probably 3 to 4 months to get your federal agreement in place for the money to be available. So then you're looking at the fall, and then you start design, so you're looking at winter. So you're talking late this year, late 2024.
I just know that I'm getting ready to go up to Baldwin and do a trails project with the city of Baldwin.
Mm-hmm.
I know of 4 other ones coming up, one in Emporia, one in Council Grove, I think Neoshe and Strong City.
We might be doing one of ours. We've done all the Flint Hills Trail.
Have you?
And yeah, all of it, all 116 miles has been our.
I just know they're coming up, so
Yeah.
that's why I posed that question, from grant to design, money to design, from design to build.
I would expect build for this, if everything went great, would be in 2026.
Okay.
Design would be in 2025,
Okay.
bid it in 2026.
All right.
What's your
So I know the Osage one was on the books, KDOT books, for 2 years.
Yeah, I believe it.
Pulled up, it was on and off, so, all right.
And you've had meetings with the cities, with each entities?
I haven't had recently, because we were kind of
Right, but
waiting.
this
for-
was prior to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
When we did the plan, we had 4 meetings with each city. We had public meetings, we had city council meetings. For those of you who've been on the on the commission, that was all part of what you all had scoped us to do. And then, honestly, Waverly's been the most communicated with. I mean, they're very interested
I know they are.
in trying to find ways to get
Right.
improvements done. So,
This next step that you're talking about, say, what's the projected cost of the county?
actually, if I remember right, and I haven't opened up last submittal, I think we submitted, there was no new money from the county. We used all your spent money that you had in the plan and the kind of the money that you have continued to allocate through our on-call for us to do work. And then I spoke about your annual program where the cities get certain amounts of transportation dollars, I believe. So that's kind of how we wrote the application. So we really didn't call for any new money from the county. I guess I would say this, I mean, if that's something you all want to consider, I'm not telling you have to, that would be good to know in the next few weeks. But I would not, that's not a requirement. This can be rural, I'll call it nearly 100% ask, based on us throwing in the dollars you've already spent. That we would just use our standard on-call unless you want me to do something different for our effort. I would normally just use our regular on-call contract to do the services. I can put a line item in there, so we always put a descriptor so you know what the expenses are. I can do that.
I'm trying to recall, I know we put some money into it, but I don't remember whether we pulled out a community improvement reserve money.
I think it's community improvement.
Reserve, so I guess in my thinking, I'd like to leave it that way. And all these efforts put into this, I really don't want to see it die or go away or be shelved either, so.
I will say from my perspective, in working with the staff, we closed those projects because we were trying to make it easier on keeping people, so, we had stuff in this category and stuff in this category. So we tried to, we've either closed them or we're right at the point of closing these out at the end of the year, last year. So if you want me to do a supplemental to one of those, I can talk to my folks and see about opening it up and stick a little money in there and then run it through you guys. I mean, I'm open to however you want to do it.
I don't know that I'm comfortable with a continuous bill. Here I'm working on this, here's $5,000. Here I'm working on this, here's another $6,000. Kind of the ticker tape. I'm more along the line, I think, of give us a price of what you estimate on that, and we go from there. That's my personal opinion.
I agree.
And I can do that, no problem. And I can do it even, actually then, I can just put it as I'm into the billing a little bit, but I can put it as a task under our standing on-call contract, so it's still, a separate item. Yes, but you have a known quantity.
I think that'd be good.
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay. Well, then what I'll do is I'll
We
put
know that
together
it's
kind of
gonna
a
be
letter.
X amount of dollars to
Yeah.
get the grant applied for and take that in that story, so to
Yep.
speak.
Yep, I can do that.
We'll do another task order at that time,
Yeah.
for lack of a better term.
I'll put something together, have it to you next week.
Okay.
Okay?
Thanks for letting us know we got too many people on the clock.
I got you. No, it's no problem. That's why I wanted to bring it to you.
Got a lot of stuff going on.
And then, this is more of an update. We had the long meeting on the water study. I will say we got the fee numbers from PEC and put that all together in the grant application. Remember, we were gonna try to get it funded through the grant program. That grant has been submitted, through Bobby.
What was those numbers? We never heard those numbers.
165.
165.
Yeah. And that's in the grant application.
Was there anything from Osage County? Did anything ever happen with Osage County helping?
There was a meeting that my senior engineer went to with Carl. I know they're interested. I don't think and they want to continue the dialogue, but I don't know that we got to any kind of number. But they were interested. Yes. Yeah.
Because it's going to affect them greatly as well.
Yeah. I don't think there's any way around that. So, but, no, they were very open and interested. So I think there just needs to be a continued dialogue with them. I'll check with Carl and see where that needs to go from here. Anyway, I just wanted to get you updated on those couple items. That's where we're at.
Okay, thanks, Sam.
Very good.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
Thank
guys,
you. Thank you.
we'll see you next week.
Oh. Round table, I guess, I don't know.
Did you ever decide about the hospital, or can we go into executive and discuss this?
Yes. Is that what you're wanting to take out now?
Well, I mean, it's a short day, as good a time as any,
So,
in my opinion. I'm just,
I agree.
100% with you.
Yeah, we gotta get an answer to him, I think.
it's on the books.
I would request, how much time do you think? 30 minutes?
I was saying 20 to 30, yeah.
30 minutes, executive session, myself as a board. This is in reference to legal advice, in reference to subordinate boards of the county and appointments to those boards.
$30 minutes. I'll move.
I'll say it.
Moved by Knight, seconded by Houston.
Gives a couple extra minutes.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. We'll enter at 9:56 for 20 minutes. No, 30. Sorry, did I say 20 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, 30 minutes.
I said 9:56.
9:56 we'll enter. Did we vote on it? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay. We are now.
Oh, yeah.
If you don't want them.
I got lost, didn't I? Amazing how you get lost. Not like you got found. I got found. All right. Now that I catch my breath. Where'd Wade go? He got lost too? All right, we're gonna work on board members for Coffee County Hospital.
So are we just
First off, I'd like to thank everybody that applied for this appointed board. It was pretty remarkable the turnout we had for applications, and unfortunately, there's only 3 to be filled, and there was, what, 8? 7, but yeah, that applied.
Yeah, and it's a difficult decision in some cases, so.
There's a lot of good people, and hopefully the results are good. Not everybody's gonna be happy. All right.
So, okay, and then I'll make a motion to appoint Eric Urban as member of Coffee County Hospital Board. 2-year term. Effective January, I guess be more like the 2nd, would it not?
Does it go, would be January 1?
It's January 1, but you can, if you want to change it to second. you
Oh, I
can.
didn't know, but it's today was the 2nd.
I think it's just first day of the year to the last.
Still
day.
a term, I guess.
Yeah.
January 1, 2024, and ending December 31st, 2027.
Hughes made the motion for Eric Irving. I'll second. Meat seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
Mr. Chairman, I would move to appoint Arden Pear as a member of the Coffee County Hospital Board to a 3-year term effective January 1st, 2024 and ending December 31st, 2027.
Thompson moved to appoint Arden Fair. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Hugo. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. See, we got one more to fill.
I'll make a motion to appoint R.M. Bob Fleming as a member of the Coffee County Hospital Board to a 3-year term effective January 1st, 2024 and ending
December 31st.
December 31st, 2027.
I'll second.
McCurry moved to place Bob Fleming as Coffee County Hospital Board member, 3-year term, seconded by Meats. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. That is our 3 new board members for Coffee County Hospital Board. Once again, thanks for everybody that applied and served in the past. Yeah, Angie, you contact those people, don't you?
I send them letters.
You send them letters. Is the hospital board notified as well?
Yes,
Okay.
it goes to the board.
Goes to the board and the new applicant, or the new members. I know Bobby is in. I wonder if he would be able to discuss.
You want me to call him in, or?
Yeah. If you would, please. Can I bring?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
I don't like kicking things down the road.
Another thing done that way.
Yeah.
That's shred, Paul.
Must have jumped in and jumped out. Yeah, I just spoke to him on the way back up. So he might have lost him.
Everybody else can shoot him a text.
Mm-hmm.
Hello? Hello?
I didn't notice Bobby's light was on.
It was on. I talked to him, that's why I was late. I visited with him about that bill from that media company out of Lawrence. And he said that there's no more bills for them.
Hey, is Bobby in today? Can you ask him to pop up here to this meeting? Thank you.
Wade had one more thing too.
Did he? I know he's been awful quiet for the last couple of weeks. So I figured we're gonna have something.
Slow down, light up.
I'm glad of that. The more we kick down the road a little ways, the busier it's gonna be when we don't want it to be.
Yep.
Do you want me to go get Wade again?
Oh, I'm sure he's coming back. He's got the computer here. I guess we could do roundtable while we're waiting on Bonnie. Steve, you got any roundtable?
I don't today.
Don, do you have any roundtable?
The only thing I have, I was gonna ask where we at on that property that the CHS owns that Ludolph asked about. I'm not sure if
You know, the hospital was supposed to bring something forward to us, but
that,
I'd say we need to get that young man an answer, and
I don't think that'll take a while for the hospital, I think.
I mean,
It's just an assumption.
I can visit with somebody to try to get a price idea.
He wasn't in any specific hurry
Right.
that we're getting in.
No, but we do own,
Been 5 or 6 weeks.
We
since
own
he's in.
the explanation or a dollar.
Well, and I was gonna go to the city and I forgot over the holidays to get, cause he said it was already planned.
That's right.
Just kinda see what that would look like to present, I'll make sure to get that done.
And I'll try to get with somebody today, to try to get an estimate.
And the dollar they were talking about the other night was
Well,
extremely out of sight as far as I'm concerned.
it's our property and our prices, that's my opinion, so
I agree,
that's
100%.
bottom line.
Couldn't agree more. Mr. Skipper, how are you?
Yes, sir, how are you doing?
We're doing all right. Questions about the Tourism and Visitors Board?
Yeah.
Okay. There's one, which is yourself,
Yes, sir.
which I'm assuming you're good to reappoint for another, till 2026.
Yes, sir.
Do you have any ideas on the next position that would be open?
So statutorily, now that particular board is a statutory board, where certain county appointed officials occupy those positions. And that's for half of the board. The other half is at large. They can be anybody, but they have to be, the theme is they have to be somebody in the tourism business, like a hotel operator or a racetrack owner, or, you know. The two statutory appointees are your economic development and your chamber director. As you probably know by now, there's not a chamber director anymore. I don't know how we bridge that, if it just stays vacant or if you appoint an interim or whatever, but the other two are currently occupied by Troy Friend, who owns a liquor store in
Lebo.
Levo,
Yeah.
and the other one was Miss Carol Toy. Now she works at the hotel here in Burlington, the Country Haven, yes. She's no longer there either. So
No, I'm on that also.
yes, Mark, yes,
That guy?
that guy.
so does the chamber board then appoint or vote on a president or?
So they have reformed, from what I understand. They've had a meeting, and for now, they I think they're going to move forward without having a director.
So they're gonna go with like a board, is that,
Yes, sir.
okay?
They got their
I
own
was
board,
just curious.
which is not this board, the tourism board.
Right.
It's separate. But they could, if you're asking for them to appoint somebody, I can relay that.
No. I was thinking we're not, I'm sorry, we're discussing tourism right now, aren't we?
Yes, sir.
Right, but they appoint somebody
To be on.
to be on the
that.
tourism board. So if we ask them to pick somebody to be on the tourism board, like they have in the past, it would probably be one of their members, would be my guess.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And Mark, you're on the tourism board.
Yes, I am.
So, when do they meet?
Once a year, historically once a year, and it's just so the tourism board is, the only funds they manage is the tourism guest tax money. And again, statutorily, they're supposed to use that money to promote tourism in Coffee County. But for whatever reason, that money was decided to be given, all of it, each year to the Chamber of Commerce as part of their funding. And that is still the status quo unless the commission decides to change that. You know, ultimately your board, your checkbook, but it's been about $15,000 to $18,000 a year, and it will continue to decrease because
we've lost a lot of hotel rooms over the past few years.
And that's what determines the funding then
Yes,
to
sir.
the chamber, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
At this point, is that their only funding?
The economic development, and this has happened before I came on board, but economic development was also given about 12 to 15,000 a year to supplement, in addition to the transient guest tax. And again, that's still status quo. Nothing's changed unless the commission desires to change it.
Right.
This new board, by the way, not to convolute the discussion of what you're talking about tourism, but this new chamber board plans to come before the commissioners and introduce themselves and,
Ask for funding.
well, I don't think they will. I think they're kind of good with where they're at.
Because the funding is still intact as far as the way it's been funded, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. There's been no change there other than just,
The shortfall
The
is
shortfall is the
transient tax.
okay,
That's right.
okay.
Which probably isn't a whole lot, because, I mean, we lost the motel, what little motel we had at Levo, and then we lost the little one downtown here,
Yes, sir.
which I don't know how busy, I mean, that lodge was, it seemed fairly busy, especially during Wolf Creek times and hunting seasons.
Yes, sir. And I hadn't confirmed this either, that, forgive me, that hotel you mentioned a while ago, here in Burlington? Country Haven. I think they're down to 6 rooms. They were, I think, in 15 rooms about a year ago. They're down to 6 rooms that they rent out now.
Why is that?
Hold on.
Probably staffing issues would be my guess. It's all they can get cleaned back up and ready for the next night. I know certain motels in Emporia, they'd have problems with getting the cleaning services in, and they'd have to block rooms out for the next night because people didn't show up to clean the rooms and so on and so forth. So, I mean, it's a serious problem. Well, I'd move to reappoint Mr. Bobby Skipper as a member of the County Tourism and Visitors Board for 2-year term effective January 1, 2024 and ending December 31st, 2026.
I'll second that.
Moved by Knight, seconded by McCurry. Any discussion? Plead your case now.
One more update. And this is the attorney's job, so I'm not going to dive too deep in it. But y'all met the hotel guy. At some point, when he moves his deal forward, the attorneys are going to come present the structure of what would be a deal. Assuming that if a big fancy new hotel was built in Burlington, it would generate a lot more of this tourism guest tax money. Part of that structure would be that the attorney would propose to the commission is you take all this new money generated by the tourism guest tax and put it towards a professional employee of the county who would go out and market the county for events, for tourism, to essentially play that role that maybe a high-end chamber director would play. That's just proposed, and that'll be something you have to deliberate on pretty soon.
Okay. The motion previously, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. This motion passes. Yeah, that, I got to visit with that gentleman a little longer here the other day. And, got some good ideas. I just hope it all works out the way he wants it to.
Yeah.
So now we need to find somebody to fill this other position on the tourism board.
You were missing Carol Toy and Carol Troy.
Oh, no, wait, talking about the missing?
Carol
Yes.
Swim, Melissa.
Yeah, just 2, Carol and Elizabeth.
So you need two more appointees for the tourism board, is that?
Yes, sir.
Somebody from the chamber and
Somebody
at
from-
large.
So would both those come from the chamber then? I mean, how does that?
Historically, you have appointed from your own suggestions the at-large positions. Now, because there's not a chamber director, but I think it's practical that they just appoint from themselves a representative to fill that spot.
But that would fill one of the 2 that's available. If the chamber fills a
Fills the
position,
position.
then there'd be one more at-large position. concession to fill. And it meets once a year.
And again, somebody who is benefiting from people coming into Coffee County would be the theme of being on the tourism board. Somebody who cares about how to promote Coffee County as a whole.
Could a person run a liaison on that board until it's filled? Or is there one for the tourism?
Ask that again.
Can one of us sit in as the liaison, is that the right terminology, for the tourism board until it is filled?
I mean, I think you can, I don't know if I'd name, identify and officially appoint somebody, but if somebody wanted to sit in.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. If somebody could cover that seat until it's filled.
So when's your next meeting? I'm just curious, is it here at the first, I mean, is
I think
it?
it's sometime right before budgetary period, so
Okay.
sometime April maybe, March.
I was just curious.
And you can call a meeting, it's still your board. I mean, you hold the
Right,
checkbook, you can do, if you want them to meet at a certain time.
no, I was just curious when because you said it's a yearly meeting.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I guess I'd volunteer to sit on it until it's filled.
Well, I just didn't know if, I mean, I don't know, I was just looking to see if there was anybody that sometimes you're in it and you don't realize you're in it. Yep. Because they don't meet very often.
So you could reach out to the chamber to see if they could designate or appoint somebody to be on that particular board.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And then we still have one seat.
The commissioners, through, the clerk, is that okay?
That'd be great.
All right.
Thank you, Bubba.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thanks,
much.
Ollie.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
How is the property sales going, Wade? The Abendroth, the UDO and the SSM, how's the court system thing going?
Just got a notification earlier that the system is officially back up and running, so that's what I was waiting for, and now I'll check with land title so that they can do, I mean, that's what really needed to be accomplished behind the scenes to make sure there's no legal obstacles to a clear title. I'm not sure on the SSM, as far as I know, it's gone through, but there was still work being done behind the scenes to accomplish the same thing. And I've been in contact with Mr. Abendroth, and he wanted to, before he signed anything, wanted to make sure there was no issue with that property, which nobody thinks there is, but it's better to have something in hand that says there isn't.
Right.
I guess outside of what was already disclosed related to the tanks in the ground, which means you just can't go in the ground, but my understanding is he's looking at a slab, so it wasn't going to affect that. So I will initiate that, and hopefully by the end of the month, he said he was not necessarily in a hurry because he had other projects he was working on, but he and I have been in contact.
You got anything else for us today?
know I had mentioned it at one point, there's not really been a spirited discussion about it, but I need to know if you want more to be done. I think it would require potential legislative action. There is, in several different jurisdictions, a code enforcement court. And I know I mentioned it just sort of in passing, maybe to plant the seed. It's something that I would suggest that at least be looked into. I know Tom has been very instrumental in seeing that there be some level of code enforcement across the county, and that be, for contractors to make sure they're not taking advantage of county citizens. The someone who puts a sticker on their door and says they're a legitimate contractor who can do X, Y, and Z, and then somebody call them out, and then they do something, and what is the recourse? That's one example. Another one would be dealing with blighted property, different things like that, getting things in the unincorporated areas of the county addressed. Legislatively, in Chapter 19 at the very end, which deals with what powers and statutory authority the county commission has, there is a mechanism for the creation of a code enforcement court. The code enforcement court would operate through the district court, and if there'd need to be a conversation with the judge, chief judge, which would be Judge Wine, they would have to assign a judge to be able to hear, and then in different courts that are in place across the state, they meet in the evening, and it has due process, which I think is what is most important when you're dealing with county court, the code enforcement court. A complaint would be filed, it would go through the process, it would be, I don't want to say similar to, if you've watched municipal court, it would be similar to that. The burden of proof would be similar to what it is in a criminal case. There'd be a fine structure. One of the ones that I looked up, depending on what type of violation, it's broken down into Class A through E fines. I think the most severe fine is a $1,000 fine, somewhere in that neighborhood, and as low as $50 to $100, depending on what it is. So if you're interested in that, I will explore it even further and bring you more information. But I think it would be worthwhile to at least look into, and then if it's something you see could be beneficial here, then to maybe go on a field trip and actually sit and observe one of those courts in action.
Would that include, would the fine structure include court costs?
Yes, so I have one, court costs would be, I have it in this document. Not being what I printed. If I remember right, by statute it's at a $20 filing fee. I mean, it's not, I don't think it's meant or intended to financially burden anybody, but it's also meant to have some teeth that there needs to be teeth.
So there's a process to get to that point. I mean, there's a process that you would go through to get to that point with say a blighted.
It all depends on what you incorporate in your code enforcement court. So one example of one of those courts that I'm aware of is in Miami County. Miami County has a code enforcement court. It was created by the county commission, and code enforcement officer, law enforcement officer duly authorized in the unincorporated areas of Miami County may issue a complaint and notice to appear to any person violating a county code or resolution in Miami County when such code or resolution provides for enforcement by prosecution through codes court. And then it talks about how to serve, but it gives code enforcement and law enforcement the ability to be a part of that. So there needs to be a conversation with the sheriff as well. So it just has a more procedural mechanism that you should at least maybe consider look into. And it's not reinventing the wheel, because there's other counties in the state that they have a procedure and a process and a code in place that you can look at, review, and consider. And then it would require a conversation with the judge. It would require a conversation with the sheriff just to see, and then later on down the road, I know the direction, my impression is the direction this board was going is to maybe get to the point where there's a code enforcement officer as well. So this court would allow for that structure to exist.
So is this not something that the zoning board or planning board was looking into as well, as some sort of code enforcement?
I think it's been suggested this is another option. And this would also include for those who are in violation or not following zoning, a mechanism to, I mean, right now there's a resolution in place where the county has adopted under the zoning regulations, created sort of a penalty structure for those who don't comply, that a case gets filed in the district court, and it has punishment up to 6 months in the county jail, and I think a fine of up to $500 for each day's occurrence, but that means you go directly to the district court. This would allow that process to take place and be held within this codes court to include any violation of zoning, is my understanding. So if you want me to keep digging into it, I can keep digging into it, provide you information. If you don't, then I won't.
It's something I brought to the table when I first got here 5 years ago now, I guess, 4 years ago, whatever, but, code services, code enforcement, I mean, call it what you will, but it needs to be, I think to put somebody in to oversee an entire building of a home, if you will, would be a person that would need a lot of knowledge in general construction itself, you know, I suppose, general electric, basic, I mean, just basics, if you will. I know other counties have that at their disposal, but we're sitting here now to where there's no, even when they get a special use permit, there's really no follow-up to see that they abided by the rules set down by the zoning board or by us to, when they get a special use permit. So I don't know if that's actually, a year later, are they in compliance anymore, or do we know that for sure? Then you got the blighted properties, and you know, that's a proven fact as well too, that a blighted property will bring the value of a home across the street down. So, yeah, people can live how they want, but yet when it affects financial well-being or the health of the neighbor. So, that's just been my stance on it. And like Wade said, you don't have to reinvent the wheel, all you do is adopt, I have it here in my file, property maintenance code book. They're in black and white. And as far as the construction, if you get a person, you know, it'll take a while to find that person that's knowledgeable in the overall construction of a structure. And I'm not talking about he's gonna inspect like the jail out here or Dollar Tree or anything like that. I'm talking about your house, my house, whatever, to make sure that, I mean, I'm getting ready to build a house. Luckily, I know enough to know that, you know, I don't wanna do it this way.
Yeah, so how would that work, Tom? Would this person stop out there weekly or something while during the process, or would they go do an inspection like before the sheet rock went on where they could still see? I mean,
Yes.
What
All
kind
the
of
above.
I see.
Basically, if I'm working over in Lyon County, that's basically what goes on. Get ready to pour a footing, you have to call the city and say Tuesday at 10 o'clock in the morning, I'd like to pour these footings, and they come out the day before, the night before.
Look at your rebar.
Look at everything and say, yep, you're good to go. And so they do the same thing on all the other trades as well. Okay, we're getting ready to sheet rock, the wiring's done, yada, 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 the plumbing's starting, I mean, you know, with your permit or your building permit, there's actually a larger fee than what's charged around here, but it helps cover some of those costs of employing that person to do that.
I see. Well, that makes sense.
And like Wade said, you're protecting your citizens to not being taken advantage of, because I've seen a couple of structures here in town going up that
Pretty shaky.
It's not good.
But doesn't each city have their own?
In Coffee County, each city, all they have is requirement
Is just a building permit?
a building permit, and your plumber and your electrician have to be licensed. And that license is basically a bond of $5,000 payable back to the city. And this is in Burlington that I know of. Payable back to the city amount of $5,000. And from your plumber and your electrician, those are the ones that are required to be licensed. But anybody can throw a stick up, anybody can pour you some concrete, anybody can do the rest of it for you, so.
I can see that there'd be a need.
Well, you know, it not only protects the builder, the person that's wanting the structure built, it protects the next person that buys that house as well.
Yeah.
Because if it's put together, I'm gonna use, for lack of better terminology, piss poor. It might work okay for 10 or 15 years, and then they turn around and sell it to Billy that come into the county, and it's a pile of junk.
Yeah,
So it actually protects,
Turn up at the
Future
40-year
homeowners.
mark.
yeah, it protects future homeowners as well.
So this, what you're proposing, or what you're asking, that would entail the cities also, instead of, you were talking unincorporated.
Yeah.
Which would be out of the county.
Right.
So what you're talking about, Tom, would affect the cities also, building in the cities?
I would venture to say that the cities will wind up adopting the same.
They'd have to adopt, to me, they'd have to adopt it.
Well,
Am I,
I don't know if they'd have to adopt it, but I do know, we've had discussions, sit-down discussions with cities, like the second year I was here or whatever, and everybody seemed to be on board at that time to contribute X amount of dollars, and then sign into
Towards
an
that individual.
interlocal agreement, if you will, that gives that person
okay,
or not jurisdiction, but the
I
right
guess that's
to.
where I was headed, that's,
Yeah.
okay.
So in other words, if somebody's building in the city of Burlington, and this is just my thought, that a building permit gets issued, gets presented to your code services department, and then whoever's doing the building has to communicate with code services person, code enforcement, I like to call it services. Enforcement sounds
Too strong.
too strong to me, but, anyway, so there's open communication to say, okay, we're gonna start construction, you know, on or about this date, yada, yada, yada,
And that would be with the city's okay, I mean,
with the city's approval.
with the city's approval. They wouldn't have to approve that if they so
They
desired.
can get my thought again on it was they go to the city of Burlington, get a building permit, say I'm building at 1501 Potomac, and then here's a list of my contractors, and that gets presented, if the county's employing that person, that gets emailed over to them, whatever, and then it's basically in the county's hands after that, or that person's hands, that department's
Right.
hands. That's the way I would see it going.
Sure.
Well, that's the only way you're gonna catch stuff that's shady work.
And you have, with the Attorney General's office, the Consumer Protection Division that, they monitor any suspect or shady business practices, but they have to be notified of it. And they have a unit that is designated to prosecute those who are involved in violations of the Kansas Consumer Protection Act. You know, one of the times where you see people come out of the woodwork, and a number of them are legitimate, some of them aren't, is when you have some sort of natural disaster, you want people to come in and, you see the notices that go out from the AG's office about roofing, and they come in, and it's unfortunate because you have a number of legitimate businesses who are doing that for the right reasons, but you also have those who don't, who are not.
And you do have a bunch of them coming out.
Like,
For instance,
they're like ants. They're like ants.
like in a hailstorm.
Swarm in, do their work, and gone.
And gone. I'd like to see you I'd like to see some more information on that.
Okay.
I mean, that's just, I think it's something that we need to look at.
I was just, actually, it's ironic, I was just speaking to a guy over the weekend that has a house in county, not in a city, built in the mid-80s, and the basement is caving in on him as he speaks.
Oh, wow.
He said it's bowed in so bad he's got large cracks he can stick his finger in, and he cannot find a piece of rebar anywhere.
Wow.
So,
Yeah.
what happened, I mean, there's probably something in there, but
Sure.
Well, that person will never be able to sell that property until it's fixed.
No.
You know, if
That's
there's
what we're
been something
talking
to this point, to this, it would have been seen, would have been caught.
True, I mean, when we're dealing with blighted properties now, or structures that are abandoned and falling down, so, if you're not protecting what's being built in the 80s and the 90s, in another 20, 30 years, whoever's sitting here in our position is gonna be taking care of it.
Yeah.
So, you're protecting everybody, and that's just me.
Well, that sounds like a good idea, Tom.
I agree. I think that's,
Do you think that'd be, if they did their scheduling right, would that be feasible that one person could handle that in the county, you think?
I think so.
'Cause
I mean, we talked about sharing with Anderson County at one time, but there's not enough that goes on in the county to employ a person full-time just in the county. But if you count in each city and the entire county,
Yeah.
then that would probably, and not to mention you throw in the blighted properties, you throw in special use permits, following up on that to make sure those are following the rules that were passed down. I mean, I know it's adding more government, but I think in this same
There are
token,
specific,
you're protecting people.
there are specific things, though, that's definitely a huge advantage to provide that service.
I can say in the last 2 years, there's probably been 20 structures put up in Levo or around Levo within the 3-mile stretch. 3-mile radius,
Mhm.
at least 20.
Look what's gonna happen in the next 5 years if everything takes place.
Yeah, and I know there's more even today that's being put up. So, I mean, not saying that the builder is a bad builder, I'm just saying that you don't know until you have
Well,
somebody looking at it.
And and nothing against anybody at all, but I mean, you know, not everybody's knowledgeable of general construction to know, oh, well, that poured concrete today, well, it's great.
Yeah.
There's just so many things that go on. For me being in concrete, I mean, you have a 4,000 PSI mix and you exceed the water cement ratios by X amount of X amount of gallons of water, you just took it from a 4,000 to a 2,000. I mean, there's several things that you just, you know, the same, and then goes on the electrical, I mean, you can't have more than, I think, what is it, 6 or 10 outlets on one circuit, and just little things.
I guess further information, Wade, kind of what it sounds like to me.
So, Miami County, mission of code services is to protect safety, health, welfare of the public, preserve property values through the efficient, effective, and reasonable enforcement of code standards and regulations relative to the construction and use of buildings and property. And their building code services responsible for administering regulations adopted by Miami County as the minimum standards for construction of new buildings, additions, remodeling, or repair and/or change of use for existing buildings. Upon receipt of a building permit application, review of the plans for most proposed buildings is required before a permit can be issued and construction started. Miami County has adopted the following model codes: all 2018 International Building Code, Plumbing Code, Mechanical Code, Fuel Gas Code, Residential Code, Fire Code, Existing Building Code, Swimming Pool and Spa Code, and then the 2017 National Electric Code. For contractor licensing, it talks about administers contractor licensing program which requires many building trades contractors as well as on-site wastewater installers, designers, septic, pumper haulers to possess a license to perform work in the county. The program covers all of the unincorporated areas of the county. Contractor license also accepted in several cities. Contractor license generally required to obtain a permit and perform work for any construction project, with an exception allowing the owner of a single-family property who personally occupies the property to obtain permits and perform their own construction work. That has a number of applications, and it also has environmental health. Department administers and enforces environmental health sanitary code through varied functions of the department, permits and inspects septic system and private water well installations, licenses septic installers, designers, and pumpers, response to various complaints.
See, which some of that falls under Carl right now, and that's why, in the back of my mind, if you brought somebody in to be in Carl's department with Carl, or Carl can educate them on that, that would cover some of that. I don't know, but you're gonna have to put our heads together here to agree what would be the best avenue, so.
It's planting seeds more than anything, just to consider. My main concern is whatever process is in place, that there be a due process element that goes with it, so that people are properly put on notice, that they have the ability to appear wherever, and that it's not just a complaint is made and then somebody can rubber stamp the complaint. It needs to have process where it's vetted, and if somebody is found to be responsible, then that decision is a just decision.
Good discussion. More information, field trip, whatever.
I did see they meet, that their code court is held once a month, so it's not a overly intrusive level of court proceedings where it's occurring all the time. And you also have to take into consideration the population of Miami County versus Coffee County. I'm sure
Big
they
difference.
have quite a few more residents. I mean, the equivalent, probably closer equivalent to Coffee County would be Lake County, would be mine.
Well, I mean, it didn't used to be, I'm sure it didn't used to be a problem until it became a problem, because moving out of the city down in that area is the reason they probably adopted what they adopted,
Sure.
because of the expansion of the city.
So how does that, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I think within the county, but if you found that, excuse me, person that was knowledgeable enough in general construction to oversee the building, not really oversee it, but inspect construction of the structure, as well as deal with blighted properties, as well as being educated by Carl as far as the safety and sanitation, that would be a justifiable position. I mean, he'd be plenty busy. Or he or she would be a plenty busy individual.
So how do you do a field trip? Are we still restricted to 2 members, or how does that work?
I mean, so it would be likely no different than if all of you wanted to go to the KAC conference. I mean, although it's not prohibited, you riding together, it's the appearance of having a meeting when you don't want that. So you're going to go as an observer, similar to going to a conference. I would make sure people know ahead of time that that's what's going to occur, so that if people see multiple Coffee County Commission members as observers in the code court, and probably most importantly, afterwards, during, or before, to not all congregate together and have conversations, to make sure that whatever you do, you're not observed as communicating with each other, because that's where you end up having
To have 2 ride together, or whatever would be the preferential way to do that. It's no more than 2, or is that an issue?
I don't think it's necessarily an issue. I think even if you all rode together, I mean, to talk about football, it's the appearance of, well, they're riding together, a secret meeting in the whole way between here and Sublime or wherever you're going. They're talking about county business so that nobody knows. And, I don't think you can completely get around that. No matter where you go, you end up at the same restaurant in Topeka. You can be sitting across from each other and someone walk in and say, oh, well, they're meeting to have conversations about county business. And I mean, that's just something, so doing everything you can to be transparent, be aware of what it is that's going on. And
I just didn't know what was allowed,
Yeah.
Want to do the right thing.
Yep. So I think having these conversations, and then if that is going to occur, that, announcing here, since this is a transparent and open forum, that, hey, the commission is going to go, it's not going to be a meeting, but don't be surprised if you hear a number of county commissioners, 1 to 5 are going to be at this code court as an observer. And next week, when you meet in regular session, there will be a discussion about what observations were made. And I think that's fair.
Okay. Thank you.
Anything else?
Maybe a quick 10-minute, I need a 10-minute executive session, myself and the board. It's under attorney-client, and it's to discuss, county, legal issues surrounding county policy. Okay, 10 minutes?
10 minutes.
Let's make it 15.
15? You would have.
I'm kind of wordy today.
Feeling wordy?
He's all happy. Michigan won.
Michigan won, he's happy.
It's been a long time coming.
So moved.
I'll second.
Been moved by Hughes and seconded by Meats to make executive session. Attorney and the board, 15-minute executive session, I said 10. All in favor, say aye. Aye. We'll enter at 11:26. No action taken?
So I'm printing something that I want to hand out to each of you. I know you've heard a lot of, maybe not a lot, some conversation about star bonds. And I've got a packet that I thought I could hit print on that I was going to grab and bring in, but apparently it showed up on my screen and I didn't hit the final print. So it's printing right now, but it kind of explains and gives examples of that legislative star bond process, and maybe explains it so you can take it with you and look at it when you have free time. I have one other thing and I can't remember what it is.
Maybe you'll think of it.
Somebody will jog my memory, I'm sure.
No, Wade and I looked at the parking lot Friday, was it? You and I was walking through there. That 2 center rows as far as south on last stall on the west probably ought to go away. You just can't get around it.
Can't get in it and can't get around it if it's somebody who was parked there.
I don't understand. If somebody's parked there, I don't think you can get around.
There's a couple places that can't get inside.
Unless you have a compact car.
Yeah, compact.
They don't make a whole, I mean, they make them, but
Have to really be small.
You hit it enough times, it might be compact when you're done, right?
Well, one of those smart cars is about the size of a bread box.
Mm-hmm. I haven't figured out how smart those really are. Just me. Yeah, I believe I looked at this morning too.
did you? Yeah. That stall is probably needs to go away. No way I get parked in, pulled up there where the handicap ramp is and back in. There's no way to get out of it, do the same thing, back out.
And they did a nice job with painting on the outside of that parking lot too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that does.
Looks good.
Well, we went through roundtable, waiting on you earlier. We made it to Dawn. Dawn, did you have anything else from the roundtable? Wait,
Just
you
a
had-
little deal we need. We need
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we'll
Need
get
to
that.
do some discovery on that and
try to have something next Monday, I hope, with that.
I'll make sure to get by city and get that. Did they have a plot on that? I see what that says.
Mr. Thompson, do you have anything?
No, I was gonna touch on what Don just touched on there, so that's all I had.
Thomas,
Parking stall.
Parkinson? Do you have anything for us roundtable wise today?
I'll take that.
That's not good.
All right.
What are we gonna do?
I'll try better next time.
You got something?
Well, no, which I know Ryan knows a lot about it, but that Fauna Road's starting to go to pieces up there. Main Audubon from 50 to about the first curve.
Really?
Yeah, I noticed again today, there was a new spot that showed up, and I don't know if it's culvert stuff or what, but there's some right there at 23rd, just south of 23rd, there's a pretty good spot, and then south of 22nd, there's a couple south of 21st. Yeah, south of 22nd, there's some spots. South of 21st, there's some spots. But I do know that Ryan's got it possibly in a paving plan next year, possibly. Which would be good if a person could, because you're going to have that 75 or that 50 project going on as well.
Yeah.
And might be able to get some
Pretty good price.
pretty good pricing on maybe some asphalt. So.
Well, I do know that extreme dry conditions really played havoc on a lot of roads. All shoulder cracking on. Yeah, they're just falling off into the abyss.
And I don't know if we've heard anything else about.
I just want to be able to read off what it is.
Okay. Sure.
You were saying something, sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, Gil Giffen, I don't know how he's doing. You know how he's doing, Steve?
I haven't, I don't, I mean, he's home, and I think he was doing some, rehab. I think it's doing better. And I haven't talked to him for a couple of weeks now.
Yeah, kind of a scary deal.
Yeah, he took a pretty hard hit.
He's a road grader, maintainer up there for our township, so. I'm done.
So, what I just handed out, it can be found online, it's nothing special, that really has anything to do with Coffee County, but it's titled Kansas Legislative Division of Post Audit Star Bonding Financing Program, August 2021, Economic Development Incentive Evaluation Report presented to the Legislative Post Audit Committee. It's basically an audit of an example of star bonding financing programs, economic and fiscal impact. So it's more for just reading, because it goes through and talks about some specific star bonding projects that references, at least as of in August of 2021, identified several star bond programs. For example, Manhattan Flint Hills Discovery Center, Wichita Sports Forum, Hutchinson Salt Museum, just different examples, and then goes through and kind of talks about the analysis and what the criteria are. So more for informational purposes, just so you can look through it.
And that's what that gentleman was talking about, that was looking at building the motel.
Correct, exactly. So,
there's all kinds of information out there about star bonds and what they are, what they do, but just so you have something to look at, so when you hear the idea or concept of star bond, you know what it is and what it's designed to do.
I have no idea.
Yeah, that chart's kind of interesting.
Mark, I have extras that are printing if you want one. I just, they can only print so fast. Yes.
No.
Wonder how they get these numbers of visitations.
Take it out, I suppose. Retail sales. Oh, that's have to be retail. Yeah, they get something like, Heartland Park took on the Country Stampede.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, and then then they closed. Now Country Stampede's gonna be somewhere else.
Kansas City.
Have they announced it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Oh, they've announced it?
Bonner Springs.
Bonner Springs, yeah.
Heartland Park closed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, taxes.
Yeah, I don't
Taxes.
think they paid their taxes.
Yeah.
And they were given a warning, and then I don't think they paid it, so.
Yeah, them and the city are still
Fighting.
fighting.
That's too bad.
It really is too bad.
I missed that.
But when Kansas Speedway came into effect, that really gained Heartland.
Yeah, to an extent, but I mean, Heartland was kind of more of a specialty niche
It
type
is,
racing
it is.
than Kansas Speedway.
It is.
So, it's all straight line up there,
Yeah.
Topeka, and it's roundy round up at
Yeah.
Kansas City.
Yeah.
Kinda get dizzy.
Yeah. Yeah, it is different.
I mean, yeah, your fan base will only support so much.
Right.
I always want to go up and watch top fuel draggers up there, cause I guess that's insane.
It is, it's wild.
They say in that 8th mile, the top fuel dragsters, you can't dump 5-gallon buckets of fuel fast enough or water on the ground that it takes them to go from point A to point B.
It's amazing.
I think it's like 16 5-gallon buckets, and you can't dump
Wow.
those buckets in the amount of time
It takes
it takes them to go 1/8 of a mile.
We were up there with Brady, my grandson. He was in his track chair, first year he got his track chair. And, they let us go down right by the burnout pit.
Mm-hmm.
And John Force come up, took a picture with him.
Oh, that's cool.
It was cool.
Yeah, that's
John
neat.
Force is the top, he's the
He is.
It was pretty amazing.
man. And
We had big old earbuds on him, and he just smiling.
yeah.
You could just feel it pounding in your chest.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's amazing. It's crazy. The amount of, yeah, that's just wild.
Hmm.
I've been to drags, I don't know, 3 or 4 times. It's pretty amazing.
Well, if nobody else has anything, speak now, forever hold your peace.
At least a week or 6 days.
Yeah. And we do get to adjourn today instead of recess, so.
Yeah.
Nobody else has anything, we'll adjourn at 11:57.
Thank you.
Hooray. Just in time for the noon whistle.